From the WSNJ Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Mike Mahalik.
The following is a paid political program. Now it's time for Voice of an Independent Nation. And here's your host, David W. Bowen.
I apologize about that. We're getting some feedback here. All right. The number here is 856-765-1240. This is the Voice of an Independent Nation. Again, my name is David W. Bowen Sr. Our website is davidwbowen.com. Should you feel to need to get in touch with us, don't hesitate. We're readily available. What we talk about here is pretty much politics. What's your take on it? Independent's view. What we found is most people are of the independent nature. Now, they do walk around with the Republican label or the Democratic label, but for the most part, we're independent, centrist per se. There are some right-wing and left-wing conservatives. They're the big guys with the Republican label or the Democratic label, but for the most part, as I said, it's stated that we're all centrists in one manner or the other. Even the politicians that are out there walk around with just the label or the classification of being a Republican or Democrat. With that being said, just getting back with you, I mean, I have said it a couple times before, but I applauded Governor Christie and then President Obama for their work with Hurricane Sandy and getting stuff done. I felt it was imperative that it did happen, and it was good to see that they were able to come together. Christie seems to be getting a lot of flack from his Republican Brotherhood regarding this. And to me, I think it's ridiculous because, I mean, this wasn't a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. This was an American issue, a New Jersey issue. And if you know anybody, or if you've yourself been down to Seaside or Atlantic City or whatever, you know exactly what I mean. Those people down there weren't thinking about whether they were Republican or Democrat at the moment. They were thinking about saving their lives, their homes, their businesses, anything and everything that they own. As I said, we have family that lost their homes. We have family that lost their businesses, boats. One friend of ours hasn't even found their boat yet. So, I mean, that says a lot, and that's been a couple weeks now. So, again, like I said, I have to applaud the gentlemen, Obama and Christie, for what they did. It's good to see that people are capable of working together on different levels, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat. I mean, this is important for everybody. It wasn't a black thing, a white thing, a Hispanic thing, or a male thing, or a female thing, Republican, Democrat. It was people coming together, helping each other out, as it should be. You know, when Hurricane Katrina came through, everybody stood up and helped out Louisiana, New Orleans, and even now, New Orleans is helping us out, sending stuff back. The thing I found ridiculous was the fact that a lot of electric companies had sent their crews our way to help out with the electrical issues, and the crews were turned away if they were non-union. Now, I'm all for union, I'm all for non-union, whatever works for you. But the thing is, I mean, you can't turn people away. I mean, what was more important there? The fact that they were union, non-union, or the fact that they were there to help out? You know, they were offering their time and abilities. And to me, that was just ridiculous. You know, I don't think that should have been allowed. And like I said, I'm all for unions. I'm not against them. If you work a union, I applaud you. If you don't, same thing. I'm indifferent, you know. I think everybody's job should be protected in one manner or the other. And if a union does that for you, then so be it. But again, this wasn't about a union issue. This was about getting people's lives back in order, any way, shape, or form that we could. funny thing about Obama is it seems like since he's taken office just over a week ago, he's made a lot of different changes. If you guys have been paying attention to the news, we got Hillary Clinton possibly stepping down. We have a lot of generals and majors and everybody coming down, and a lot of his cabinet people are stepping down. Obama fired them. And one thing I did hear was John Bon Jovi from the band Bon Jovi wanted to become a cabinet member if Obama won his election. And I haven't heard anything about that. As to what John could possibly contribute, I don't know. I would like to see that. Not that John's a bad guy, but I think personally John has his hands full right now. He just his daughter was found unconscious recently from a heroin overdose. So it just goes to show you got to watch your kids, regardless of how old they are. And I mean, that was true several weeks back when I made mention at one of our forums that I brought it to the attention of the media down Cape May about Autumn, the girl, how old was she, 10, 12 years old?
She was just turning.
She's going to be 13, yeah, a week later. Yeah, okay, yeah, because she has the same birthday as my wife. That's right. Hurricane Sandy, yeah, exact day. But she was turning 13, and she was taken away in the prime of her life, and I mean, that's a shame. But
I took us some Jack.
all right, so
This has been for a few weeks now. It's the guy that ran for Congress, I believe.
yeah, we were at a loss for that, and Bon Jovi, his daughter.
Sure.
It'd be a shame that anything serious happened to her. I mean, I hope everything works out for her. It could be a one-time thing. It's on?
Yeah.
Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Bowen. How you
Hello.
doing? I just noticed your show, and I never caught it before.
Well, thank you for joining us.
There was a time when I considered changing to independent, but I didn't go through with it. But somebody over in Brixton suggested that I change my affiliation to Republican, which I had a good laugh over that one. But that's never going to happen. But in fact, I think I told her that. But so I stayed in the Democratic Party, but I did inquire about that. I was thinking about switching to independent, but I didn't. But they're the only two parties that I would consider. I would never, in my right mind, consider being a Republican. That's never going to happen. So anyway, I'll give you a chance to see if you're fair and balanced,
Well, I definitely appreciate you calling in. As I stated before, I mean, I have no preference on Republican or Democrat. I applaud the fact that you guys go out there and make a stand. What I always ask everybody is, if you're going to make a stand, at least have all the issues in front of you. And I mean, that's why.
I called Lou Biondo's office one time during this past election, and I told him on the phone that the country would be a lot better off if there was only Democrats and independents and no Republicans at all. I told him that over the phone. I called his office. So,
And did he end the conversation right away after that?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he's like a 30-second guy. I mean, when you call him up and talk to him, he hears what you have to say, but he says mostly what he has to say. And then when you start expressing your opinion, especially your disapproval, he cuts you off.
Wow, he lost my respect when he signed that tax pledge thing.
Yeah.
That means he represents Grover Norquist instead of me. And I live in his district, so he's way out of touch with what I'm thinking. So.
Well, you're not the first person who's told me that. As you, our producer told you, I ran for Congress this past session, and most of the people I spoke to said the same thing you were. They were Republican, but they wanted to vote for somebody else because they were displeased with the way the Republican Party was going. And like I said, it's a preference on the person. All I ask is that everybody become educated when you make that choice. And you'll find that the Republican Party actually scrutinized against their own people. And basically, you were either right wing conservative or you were just second class Republicans. And people were running around just with the Republican name in
And
hopes.
what the Republicans do best is they don't fail to solve any problems at all. In fact, they create problems instead of solve them.
Well, if you look, we have Lou Biondo in office for 18 years, and he hasn't accomplished much. He submitted a certain amount of bills, and I think I'm told now that only 2 bills got approved, and they have nothing to do with the betterment of our district. He did get a lot of money earmarked for his new home in Ventnor and the area around that. But, the rest of our district, Bridgeton, Vineland, like yourself, I live in the district too, but I live in Pittsgrove. There's nothing there. There's no improvement. And my whole pitch was I wanted to bring new roads, fix the roads we have. As you know, we have a lot of waterways in our area. And, Lo Biondo hasn't done that. He hasn't worked to get that. And he's saying how he's pro-business. And I don't see that.
Well, he's all about party and not about who he's representing, because this is a Democratic stronghold that he's representing. He's leaning towards his party instead of us.
Well, that's it.
But that's not fair. So.
No, well, like I don't know if you paid attention to my campaign, but 85% of the time he voted for his party. Now, to me, we can just get a monkey to do that. No, I'm not calling Lo Biondo any names. I'm just saying we could put a monkey in there to do the same thing, or a machine. We don't need to pay somebody all that money to do that. That's ridiculous. We need somebody who's going to stand up there for us.
Yeah, he's running a popularity contest instead of being a congressman.
Well, that's it.
Okay, that's all I got to say.
All right, sir. I appreciate your call, and I look forward to you calling back. And don't hesitate to check us out.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay. All right. Like I was saying, we have Obama there, and he pretty much did a 180 on his campaign. He's trying to accomplish a lot. And what I just found out today, which I found out was also illegal, is his campaign received contributions from the royal family of England and the Vatican and the Pope on up until 3 weeks before the election. And then all of a sudden, both of them backed out. And Obama almost lost if it wasn't for a Chinese organization to come in to help out. Now, that makes you stop and think about something. But at the same token, they just did not want Bush's hand-picked puppet Romney to win, because he was heading for World War III. He was instigating. He seems like he's very agitated all the time. He's ready for an argument. And I was just fearful that if he won, he would instigate stuff, because he just doesn't know how to talk to people. And it frightened me, frightened my family, and I didn't vote for either one of them, but my wife voted for Obama. That was her choice. I didn't influence her in any way. That's how free I believe everything is. And that's the way I think. If you believe in what I say and do, then I'm happy. If you believe in somebody else, then I'm equally happily. I wish that you would vote for me, but I can't win everybody. I'm not going to make everybody happy. I have gotten a few people or a few organizations who called me up since the election stating that they want to back me if I decide to run next time. And I was never one for endorsements. I don't, my endorsement are the people that I serve. I want to be endorsed by you. I don't need an organization. But sometimes I feel it's good to have certain organizations. Like I strongly believe in policemen and the firefighters and the teachers. And if you're a member of the union, I believe in the unions. Unions were established for a reason, and I think the reason still exists with certain companies. Now, there are people out there trying to bust the unions, and I feel bad about that, and I would actually try to protect them. But at the same token, the people who don't have union representation, I would still try to protect them equally. My biggest thing is, and now all of a sudden Obama's talking about it, is jobs and building the economy. That's a major, major step, a major, major endeavor, but it's also a several tier endeavor. Okay, you have jobs, you have growth, you have deficit reduction, you have unemployment. You have to correct all those, and they're talking about raising the taxes for the wealthy. As you remember, my platform was I wanted to make everybody have everybody pay a flat tax, much lower than what we currently get, and more money in people's pockets, the more money they would spend out in the general public and increase revenue that way by taxing people. No country or no state has never taxed their way to prosperity. And I haven't personally spoke with them, but I've watched several different televised programs as far as like David Cope from Honeywell and all the other guys, big guys. They met with Obama on Wednesday. They were talking about they're willing to pay higher taxes to higher income people. The problem is the cutoff is around 250,000 per year. Now, a lot of small businesses, they're the people who own the small businesses, around 250,000. So I think you got to raise that number because you're still going to affect small businesses. And small businesses handle 84% of employment. And if you affect small businesses in their pockets in a negative fashion, I think that, well, I know that you will hurt the economy. So what I'm saying is you need to reduce their taxes, raise, if you're going to hit the wealthy with taxes, raise the limit. Not for 250,000, maybe 500,000, or even 650. I haven't done the math, so I don't know. That was something else that wasn't part of my agenda. Just going by what Obama was talking about. And they were talking about reducing the spending. Well, that's great, but right now we got to worry about getting over this fiscal cliff and alleviating all these things. They're talking about extending the Bush tax era credits. I say get rid of them all. Why keep extending them? Just get rid of them. Have everybody pay a flat tax. And sure, there was talk about getting rid of the Federal Reserve and have the Department of Revenue or Treasury take care of it. That makes sense. But the Federal Reserve, being a private corporation, non-governmental, has a lot of authority, and that's what Ron Paul was always talking about. He wants to audit the reserve, but at the same token, that's just the first step. Eventually they want to get rid of the reserve because it only serves the interest of private individuals, private families, and it's not even a government institution, but yet it has all the power in the world to control our economy and the economies of the world. Look into it if you think I'm wrong. And I would appreciate your feedback if you find something other than what I've found. I believe in fact. I try to express fact. Sometimes I get a lot of my information off the internet, like you would. But, the internet's not 100% correct all the time. So please look into that. Well, getting back to Obama and his cabinet, you had Hillary Clinton. She's resigning, but she said she'll stay on until he finds somebody else. And that still worries me. I think she's been on there for too long. And she's like best friends with the UN, the United Nations. And all she keeps trying to do is take our gun rights away from us. Our gun rights are protected by the Constitution. And she's trying to get a UN treaty signed to where the UN controls whether we have guns or not. Now, even though the UN is in America, it's not an American institution, and it has no right to control us. If it wants to go around and fart around with the other people, other countries, so be it. But, it can't be breathing down my back. And I think Americans need to stand up and tell their representatives, including Lo Biondo, that we don't want the UN in our lives. You know, we fund 20. What was it? Used to be 25%. Now I think it's 22 or 23% of the budget for the UN, and you know, I just don't feel we need to. It's not necessary, and they keep saying how the UN is controlling whether we go to war or not. You know, the UN has no control over our going to war. That's a congressional decision. Unless somebody attacks us, then the President of the United States can make an executive order to proceed and go after them. But, you know, for us just to go out and go to war, you know, we're too war happy. And that's where a lot of people like the Bushes and everybody make their money, is from war. And now there's talk about revitalizing energy in some form, the grid, the electrical grid. And they say it would cost too much. But what they don't tell you is there are other resources out there. Now, solar, that's a great, great resource. Problem with all these energy sources is they consume a lot of water, and water is very valuable, especially when we're getting less and less water coming out of this. You know, nuclear sucks up a lot of water, but it recycles the water, but there's always something left. Now there's new technology in nuclear where we use even less water, less resources, and we have less contamination coming out. But you know, they don't. Obama refuses to grant any more licenses for nuclear. Coal, very high carbon signature on our environment, on our atmosphere. So Obama put a damper on that. And in one aspect, I can understand it, but another aspect, you know, we got billions and billions of tons of coal that we could just have a field day with. But you know, what are you going to do? Obama's set the rules. You got geothermal engineering out there. You also have algae oil production, where they actually have algae and they suck the oil out of algae and use it as a fuel. The technology's there. They just decide not to do it. Hydrogen, there was some stuff with that being worked on, where you can just take water, fill up your gas tank with water, and use that, and it would convert it to hydrogen, and hydrogen would fuel the car. They have a lot of cars out there, but they just don't want it out there mainstream, because all the energy guys would lose money if we're not dependent on them. There's even ways to source your house and take your house off the electrical grid, but they wouldn't make any money off you. And I think a lot of stuff's going to come out in the next couple years. I'm hoping Obama steps up to bat with it. We'll see what happens, though. You know, it's a wait and see kind of game. I'm very nervous about Obama in a second term. Like I said, I believe it was last week. You know, a second term president has nothing to lose, especially the last couple years of his term, because it takes that long just to impeach him if he screws up. But the bottom line is what's best for our Americans as a whole, our district, our towns, our communities, our schools, our people, our families. You know, every decision I make, as I said before, I have to determine what's the best interest for my family, not for myself, but my family as a whole. And I don't like to waste time with secondary decisions, because if it's not going to benefit my family, then I don't go for it. But sometimes you do have to have a backup plan that may or may not equally benefit your family or your district or whatever you're looking for. But you know, we have 2 years away for me to decide if I'm going to run for Congress again. We'll see what happens. Like I said before, I ran independent, but I will make that determination as to whether I run or how I run. I believe that independents are mainstream, and we don't necessarily need a third party. We just need a generalized atmosphere or attitude that we're voting for the person and what they believe in, not necessarily for a particular party. And to me, I think that's just going down a one-way street is not going to get you anywhere. But anyway, we're at the end of our show, so I appreciate you tuning in, and please don't hesitate to listen to us again. It is November 15th at just about 1:30. You guys have yourself a good week, and I'll see you later.
You've been listening to Voice of an Independent Nation